Hello and welcome back to Spooky English. I'm your host, Jake, and this is our fourth episode.
And I'm Lauren. It's great to have you with us. Spooky English is the podcast where you can improve your English listening skills while learning about things that are, well, spooky.
That's right. We talk about ghosts, monsters, and mysteries. We try to use clear and simple English and speak slowly so you can follow along. Today, we have a very chilling topic. It's a legend from the southwestern United States, a creature of the night. Today, we are talking about the Skinwalker. Are you ready to be scared, Lauren?
As a skeptic, Jake, I'm never ready to be scared. But I am ready to learn about the history and the facts behind the legend.
Well, let's see if we can change your mind. First, it is very important to understand where the story comes from. The legend of the Skinwalker belongs to the Navajo people, a Native American tribe. For them, this is not just a scary story. It is a very serious and deeply held belief.
That's a very important point. We must be respectful of the culture. So, can you start by defining what a skinwalker is exactly?
Of course. In the Navajo language, the word is ye naldloshi. It translates to, by means of it, it goes on all fours. A skinwalker is a type of harmful witch who has the supernatural ability to turn into, possess, or disguise themselves as an animal.
A shapeshifter, then. Is it a specific person, or can anyone become one?
According to the legend, they were once medicine men or shamans who chose to use their power for evil. They go through a dark ceremony to gain the power of shapeshifting. The details are very taboo, meaning they are forbidden to talk about.
Okay, so it's a person who becomes a monster? What kinds of animals can they turn into?
They often choose animals that are fast, strong, or clever. The most common forms are coyotes, wolves, foxes, and bears, but they can also become birds like eagles, owls, or crows.
Mm-hmm.
But here is the spooky part. Witnesses say the animal form is never perfect. It always looks a little wrong, unnatural.
Wrong in what way? What details do people report?
People describe seeing an animal with human-like eyes, or its movements are strange and jerky, not smooth like a real animal. The most famous detail is that their eyes often glow in the dark, usually with a red or orange light.
Okay, glowing eyes is a classic element of monster stories, but many animals' eyes reflect light at night. Couldn't that just be headlights from a car?
It could be, but witnesses say this is different. It's not a reflection. They say it's a light that comes from within.
So, what are their powers besides shapeshifting? What do the legends say they can do?
They are said to have incredible abilities. They can run faster than a car. They have immense strength and can jump over high cliffs.
Right.
But perhaps their most frightening power is the ability to mimic voices. They can sound exactly like a baby crying or a person you know. They use this to lure people out of their homes into the darkness.
That's definitely a scary idea. But again, on a windy night, it's easy to imagine you hear things. The wind can sound like a voice sometimes.
I agree, it could be the wind, but let me tell you a typical story. Imagine you are driving on a lonely desert road late at night. There are no other cars for miles. Suddenly, a large wolf starts running alongside your car.
Okay.
You press the gas, going faster and faster, but the wolf easily keeps up. Then it turns its head to look at you. It has intelligent, human-like eyes. It stands up on two legs and runs beside you before disappearing into the night. What would you think then?
That is a terrifying image, Jake. I can't deny that. My logical brain would say that I was tired, that the darkness and the stress of the situation made me see something that wasn't there, but it would be a hard experience to forget.
Exactly. And so many people have reported similar stories. They also say skinwalkers are attracted to negative energy. They might target families who are arguing or people who are very afraid.
That makes sense from a folklore perspective. Stories often use monsters to explain bad things happening in a community. Speaking of reports, are there any official statistics on this? Or any documented cases that have been investigated?
That's the difficult part. Because this is a spiritual belief and the part of folklore, there are no official statistics. There's no police report for a skinwalker attack. Most of the evidence is anecdotal, meaning it's based on personal stories.
Right, personal stories.
However, there is one place that has become very famous for this kind of activity, Skinwalker Ranch in Utah. It's a large property where the owners have reported seeing UFOs, strange creatures, and of course, skinwalkers for decades. That's a fair point. The popularity of the legend in movies and on the internet has definitely changed how people see it. But the original stories, the ones from the Navajo people, have been told for generations, long before any TV shows.
That's true. The cultural history is undeniable and very important. The modern stories, though, are much harder to verify. That makes sense. The line between cultural history and modern entertainment can get very blurry. But going back to the traditional beliefs, if someone thinks they are being targeted by a skinwalker, what are they supposed to do? Are there any ways to protect oneself, according to the legends? That makes sense. The line between cultural history and modern entertainment can get very blurry. But going back to the traditional beliefs, if someone thinks they are being targeted by a skinwalker, what are they supposed to do? Are there any ways to protect oneself, according to the legends?
That's a very important question. According to Navajo tradition, it's very difficult to protect against the skinwalker because they are so powerful. The best defense is to avoid attracting their attention in the first place. This means living a balanced and harmonious life and not engaging in negative behaviors that might draw them to you.
That seems like practical advice, regardless of the existence of skinwalkers. It's never a good idea to open your door to strangers in the middle of the night. What else? So it's more about prevention than cure. That sounds like good advice for life in general, not just for avoiding supernatural monsters.
So, Lauren, we've discussed the history, the powers, and the modern stories. After all of that, I have to ask, are you still a complete skeptic, or have we convinced you just a little?
I believe it is a fascinating and powerful part of Navajo culture. The stories are definitely very scary, but do I believe a person can truly turn into a wolf? I have to say I'm still a skeptic, but I enjoyed learning about it.
Fair enough. And to our listeners, we hope you found this topic interesting and maybe learned a few new English words along the way.
That's a great idea, Jake. Let's review a few key vocabulary words from today. We used the word skeptic. A skeptic is a person who questions or doubts things.
We also said legend. A legend is a very old story that may or may not be true.
We mentioned shapeshifter. A shapeshifter is a creature that can change its physical form or shape.
And finally, taboo. If something is taboo, it is forbidden or not allowed to be discussed. Excellent! Well, that's all the time we have for today on Spooky English. If you enjoyed this episode, please show your support.
You can do that by hitting like and subscribe buttons. It really helps our podcast grow and reach more English learners.
And if you want more spooky stories to practice your English, be sure to check out our previous episodes. We've talked about ghosts, aliens, and even Bigfoot.
Thanks for listening to Spooky English. We'll be back soon with another story.
Until then, stay spooky.